I hate Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, I don't, but I kinda do. Allow me to explain. I've been a Sonic fan since before I can even remember, and I've made that very clear. I talk about him a lot on this channel. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But over the last few years, even myself has felt like the series has gotten a little bit bland, and I think this is important to discuss. Not only to tell Sega exactly what we want, but to keep the fanbase somewhat at bay. But before we can talk about this, let me take you back hundreds of years ago. The 90s. Mario and Sonic were sworn enemies, constantly taking any chance to compete with each other, and as much as it might not seem like it now, Sonic was better in many ways. I actually made 2 videos about that, might want to go watch them. Boost up the views, please. But once Mario took the jump to 3D with Super Mario 64, it was clear Sonic had some hype to live up to. Also, just completely unrelated, but on the topic of Sonic vs. Mario, I always found it a little bit weird that the only reason Sonic exists is to combat Mario and Nintendo at the time. I don't know, just feels a little bit corporate and lame. Sonic had a 3D platformer planned for 1996, actually. Sonic X-treme was being developed for the Sega Saturn, but looking at pre-release footage just shows that there wasn't much passion put into it. This game ended up getting cancelled before release, and it honestly isn't a surprise. Look at this and tell me you would have enjoyed this. What's up with the fisheye lens? What the hell's going on here? I don't think this game would have been very good. Although after a while, Sonic was there to make his official jump into 3D. And his first 2 3D outings are known as being some of the best games in the Sonic franchise. However, soon after this, we got some pretty bad games and hit the quote-unquote dark age of the series. This is around the time when Sonic 06 and Sonic Riders came out, and right after Shadow the Hedgehog, and I won't even lie, these are not good games. But all this really did was give game journalists a field day. This was when IGN decided to say Sonic had a rough transition to 3D, which just isn't true, according to themselves as well. And even if this statement had meaning to begin with, it's been drugged into the ground for nearly 15 years and it means next to nothing now. IGN has constantly had a weird double standard with the Sonic series, jumping at any chance to insult it or grade it unfairly anytime they get. These are all reviews from IGN themselves, on their own website. Sonic had a rough transition to 3D. They say as they have some of the highest scores they can give to the first 2 3D Sonic games. Sonic was never good. They say as they have very high scores on the first Sonic games, where under their logic, they should be low, considering the fact that
Sonic was never good.
It seems like everybody ever changed their opinion on Sonic once the Dark Age hit. Even in the early 2010s, when the series was doing alright for the first time in a while, it was still the laughingstock of the internet. It seems like no matter what Sonic Team did, they couldn't dig themselves out of the hole they found themselves in. And in 2012, Sonic Boom was released. It couldn't have been worse. Sonic Boom was supposed to reinvent the entire Sonic franchise, and from old concepts of it, it looked great. And I do genuinely feel like it could have been one of the greatest Sonic games. But around this time, Sega signed an exclusivity deal for the next few Sonic games to only release on Nintendo platforms, and forced Big Red Button to shift development towards the Wii U. Not only did Sega force them to move to extremely underpowered hardware, but the hardware wasn't even selling well. They doomed this game to fail. And when this game was released, it sucked, it was buggy, and in the end it just wasn't fun. And a part of me really feels bad for the devs because I could tell they really wanted to make this game. But after the launch of the Sonic Boom sub-franchise, Sega brought back the normal Sonic design and locations, released Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was the best reviewed Sonic game since Sonic Adventure 2, which is fair enough, this is a great game. People were hopeful for the Sonic franchise for the first time in a while, which is weird considering the fact that this game wasn't even developed by Sonic Team. But soon after, when Sonic Forces came out, it was bad. I even made a video on it saying why I think it's the worst Sonic game. You should go watch it. So they took a break from games. For 5 whole years, how bad did you guys feel? But in this time, they released 2 Sonic the Hedgehog movies, which in my opinion only made my dwindling interest in the Sonic series fall further. Both of these movies, while in the end not being bad and nothing offensive, just feel so boring and bland that I find myself not enjoying these movies that much. The only times where I think, wow, I like this movie, is when a Sonic character is on screen. I don't care about anyone else. In the first trailer showing off the redesign, we see adult Sonic in Green Hill Zone, and look at how cool this looks. Imagine if the whole movie looked like this. I understand the budget concerns, but imagine how much better this movie would have done in the box office if it was this colorful. Also, you guys wouldn't have had these budget concerns if you didn't have to reanimate the entire movie and license all that music. It's Sonic, it's known for having good music, just use the Sonic music. I like the chemistry between Sonic and Tom in both of these movies, but was it worth sacrificing a normal Sonic story for? In the second movie, we get much more of a Sonic story, but I just feel like too much of the movie is being wasted with humans and other stuff to truly make it great. And I truly realized this when I watched the Mario movie a few days ago and realized how this movie is infinitely better as a video game movie than both of the Sonic movies. Another thing that made me lose interest in the Sonic series was when the first game in 5 years was released, Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers isn't bad, not at all, but when this game came out, I feel like I was lying to myself to try and make myself like it, but looking at it now, I just simply don't like it. This game plays it so safe that it doesn't even feel like a Sonic game. It doesn't feel like something that can never work with any other franchise because it's so basic. They specifically wanted to appeal to game journalists this time and get good reviews, which it got alright reviews, but you don't really need that. I feel like a worse product was made just for better reviews. I've lost nearly all hope I have for the Sonic franchise. I hate to be that guy, but I feel like a traditional 3D Sonic game needs to be made. Not even like a Sonic Adventure 3, just a game in the style of it, because nothing feels like Sonic anymore. I liked the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, but it isn't even a mainline Sonic game and doesn't matter in the end. I haven't been satisfied with this franchise for a long time now, and I just think, am I even a Sonic fan? I really like all the characters in many of the games, but the entire franchise has shifted in the last few years, and I just don't think I'm as big as a fan as I was just a few years ago. So please, Sega, make a great game. Paramount, make the third movie great. All I want to know is that this series is capable of being good again. Dog, what am I bumbling about? The Mario movie is actually really good. Please watch that if you haven't. Sorry for whining so much in this video. I think I'm going insane. Like, subscribe, send me your life savings. Goodbye.